What is up, super freaky girls? Welcome back to episode 7 of Super Freak with Mary Ryan Brown. Real quick, some show dates. I'm going to New York. You need to buy your tickets, okay? And if you have a relative, a cousin, an ex, send them the link. If you haven't talked to your ex in a while and you're looking for an excuse, send them the links to my shows. Here's when they are. Friday, July 19th, 7 p.m. at Don't Tell Mama in Manhattan. Saturday, July 20th at 4 p.m. at Caveat on the Lower East Side. And Saturday, July 20th at 11 p.m. at QED Astoria. I'm so excited to go to New York. I'm ready to be hurt. I'm ready. I'm terrified, but I'm excited. Let's talk about our sponsors for the show real quick. Could I just trouble you for a minute? Could I sell you a vacuum real quick? Good, let me come in your house. Make me a cup of coffee. All right, seriously though, I do need to talk about our sponsors. So, Simply Chic by Fatish. This is my favorite boutique in Hattiesburg, owned by one of my favorite people in the world, Angie Nance. She's incredible. She knows how to dress people. She knows how to make you feel great in your skin suit. Okay, I was not wearing the right size jeans until I met Angie. Beautiful, timeless pieces. This sweater is from last season, but I'm going to wear it for years to come. If you use my code MaryRyan on simplychic.boutique, you can get 15% off of all new arrivals, and there are new arrivals every single week. Okay, this podcast is also brought to you by Energy Bits. Energy Bits, you need another supplement in your life. I promise you do. So buy Energy Bits. It helps with immunity, it helps with fat burning, it helps with regularity, if you know what I mean. I love this supplement. I especially love to use it when I am traveling, but I take it every day. If you want to know more about Energy Bits, go to energybits.com and use the code MaryRyan for 20% off of your algae purchase. Okay? Let's get this show started, y'all. What is up, y'all? My name is Mary Ryan Brown. I'm a writer, a comedian, a wife, and a mother, and this is my podcast, Superfreak. I named this podcast after the Rick James song Superfreak and after my very favorite movie, Little Miss Sunshine. Go watch the last scene in Little Miss Sunshine. It's all about performing from the heart and letting your freak flag fly, which is exactly what I'm always trying to do in my writing and my comedy. On this podcast, we'll have guest segments from comics, writers, and artists that I admire, as well as just interviews with people from my life that have made me who I am. I'm looking forward to seeing this podcast evolve. I'm looking forward to connecting with and growing an audience and hopefully a community here. And I can't wait for you to get freaky with me. Will I ever get a chance to spread my wings and fly? All right, y'all, we are back with a solo episode. I haven't done one of those in a while because I've had the privilege of having some fantastic guests. My guest next week, she's going to blow you away. She's incredible. It's a privilege to be able to speak with her. I can't wait to share this next guest with you. But until then, you're stuck with me. Your guest today is me. And what I've done is made my friends on Facebook and Instagram ask me questions, and I'm going to answer them today. So let's see what people said on Facebook. Your questions, my answers. Okay. Lots of interesting questions from my Facebook friends. Facebook really came through because people love to talk on Facebook. That's where all the middle-aged people are, and they do enjoy talking. So let's see. Clay Parker, fellow comedian, he said, "Why did the deep state try to assassinate Trump? Sir, I'm a certified idiot. I spend my spare time looking at pots and pans that I can use my credit card to buy. I don't have an answer for this question. I have theories, and they're worthless." All right, if you were in a room with everyone you knew who died, who would you run to first? This is a question from my friend Mallory. That's a beautiful question. If you were in a room, I'm assuming in heaven, I'm assuming floor to ceiling gold. With everyone you knew who had died, who would you run to first? I would run to my papaw, my grandfather, and my Uncle Chris. And it would just be a big group hug. And I love thinking about that. And I think they would run to me too. And I think we would meet in the middle. Whew. All right, next question. Larry Shirley. That's my friend Derek Shirley. That's another comedian and just fellow silly goose, one of my real soul sisters. He said, although historically it's never the crowd's fault for being terrible people, do you ever think, man, this crowd sucks? It's totes their fault. And he says he's asking for a friend. Derek and I discussed this at open mic the other night because the open mic in Hattiesburg, love it, but that is a tough crowd. It's mostly Gen Z college kids. They're all very trendy. They're all really cool. They look like the audience, you look out into it and it looks like a Wild Fable ad from Target with like a few lurking Walmart people in the back. So what I'm trying to say is that Gen Z is a tough crowd. They're chronically online. I don't think they enjoy laughter or fun. I think they like to see people suffer. It's a form of entertainment for them. Right here at the end of the Roman Empire that we're experiencing right now. So yeah, when you're a comedian, it's never the crowd's fault because I've seen the crowd be terrible, just so rude at open mic in Hattiesburg, and then someone will get up there and they will command the room, usually by speaking directly to the audience and demanding and then directing their attention. And all of a sudden, I can't feel sorry for myself anymore. It's not this crowd is terrible. It's that I wasn't willing enough to be engaged. Sometimes I don't have the energy. Sometimes I don't have the emotional bandwidth to like connect and go to that level. So yes, selfishly, sometimes I think the crowd sucks, but usually it's that I suck. And I think that we as comedians need to remember that all the time, that we are terrible people and that we usually do suck and we should probably quit and like get day jobs. I think that's how we could be helping the world. But Derek, you're a sweetheart, and yes, the crowd was terrible to you. You deserve more. Okay, another question from Mallory. If you could ask God only one question, what would it be? Are you mad at me? That's what I would ask God. Okay. Then I have a million questions from my friend Ariel. Y'all, she's a nut, and I love her. She marches to the beat of her own drum. I met her in the sauna at a gym like a year ago, and she just immediately started like mouth vomiting conspiracy theories. And then I started doing the same, and we've kind of been rocking with it ever since. So Ariel says, how long have you been making people laugh? How long have you been the funny girl? When did you decide to dive into comedy? How long have I been making people laugh? There's a difference between people and my mom. My mom has always and will always think that I'm hilarious. How long have I been making people laugh? I've made an offhand remark at a dinner party or two, okay? Who among us hasn't? I think I've always tried to be funny. I think it's a type of social currency that you want to acquire, especially when you didn't grow up particularly cute or beautiful. I was kind of an ugly kid. My mom would die if she heard me say that, but I was. I had a really sassy bob haircut and little tortoiseshell glasses and a horrible attitude, and I didn't like feel like a person in my body. And I would see how other girls would interact with each other and seem to like feel joy. And so what I would do is study their ways and then attempt to carve out a niche in a friend group, right? I knew I wasn't going to be the pretty popular ringleader, but I could be one hell of a court jester. And that's exactly what I did, even if that meant that sometimes I was the butt of the joke. When did I decide to dive into comedy? My daughter was 1. I had just gone through postpartum depression. It almost broke me, and in a way it did break me. Like, I'm not the same. I don't think anyone's the same after becoming a parent. And I would stay up late at night when my daughter was a newborn and I would feed her, and she had colic, and there was a lot of crying, and it was terrible. And to stay sane, I would watch comedy specials, and because I'm crazy, I would have my notebook out, and I would dictate the comedy specials. I would write down every joke. I would denote every pause just to see how it felt to make something that awesome. So I started doing that, and then when my daughter was a little over a year, my best friend Camille, she encouraged me to go to an open mic. She would kind of text me periodically every week and be like, you need to try it. I think you need to do it. You've been talking about it forever. You should do it. And so my husband and I went to an open mic on date night, and I saw what people were doing. I saw a lot of amazing comedians who are my friends today. And I thought, okay, I got to go home and write a set. So we went to 2 more open mics just to observe. The whole time I'm at home crafting this like 4-minute set. And on my 4th appearance at open mic, I actually got up on the mic and I did 4 minutes. And it's been nonstop from there. I've always loved funny people. I've always loved movies. I've always loved SNL and stand-up. I've always been a huge fan. My husband and I, on our first date, I made him watch a Tom Segura special. So I've always loved comedy. I've always loved public speaking. I was on the debate team when I was in high school. And I think I just finally became a mom, had been to rock bottom, had been kind of like rocked to my core and stripped of my identity in a way, and then like reborn. And then nothing scared me anymore, because really nothing matters but my family and God, and the whole comedy thing and really everything else is just an illusion. Okay, what was young Mary Ryan like? Was she funny? I think I kind of answered that. Yes, I was. It was a learned skill. It was kind of a survival skill. What comic do you look up to the most and why? Look up to is an interesting word, because there are people whose work I admire, but maybe their like personal ethos is not my favorite. But again, that's kind of none of my business. If we're just evaluating the art, which I think we should just evaluate the art, I would say definitely Neil Brennan, Dave Chappelle, Bill Burr, Leanne Morgan. Who else? Hannah Berner. Hannah Berner's new special was incredible. It was so girly pop and so female forward and just hilarious. I was like in stitches. Other comics that I love, Hannibal Buress. I came and saw him in Hattiesburg, I think in 2018, and I just died laughing. He was incredible. Who else? Keith Robinson. I love Keith Robinson. I love Different Strokes. That's his newest special. He's great. Mike Birbiglia, because he's a storyteller. Zarna Garg. Oh my gosh. I bow to her. I just try to like look at everything she does and not steal it. Definitely not steal it. I'm not trying to steal anything from you, Zarna, but she is such a businesswoman, such an entertainer. She's so about connection, and everything that comes out of her mouth is hilarious. Her delivery should be studied. It is being studied by me. She's great. But yeah, I could talk about comics I love forever. I think as a joke writer, I look up to Neil Brennan the most, and I've seen him live, and I think he's incredible. Okay. Do I enjoy raw interviews and podcasts? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I think that's very evident if you go back and watch my Doug Townsend interview. That was a wild ride. I like to ask questions that encourage deeper discussion. I like to ask open-ended and weird questions, and I like to just kind of see where it goes. And I enjoy listening to interviews like that as well. Some of my favorite podcasts, Working It Out, Mike Birbiglia, Blocks with Neil Brennan. I like Tom and Christina's podcast because I'm a piece of garbage, and I think that's okay. My favorite murder, that's not really interviews, but I love it. My favorite interviews are Terry Gross on NPR's Fresh Air, because I'm a former communist. I mean English major. And I love NPR to this day. To this day. All right, if I could have anyone on my podcast to interview, who would it be and why? I would love to have Zarna Garg on my interview, and I would love to have her. I wouldn't want to interview her. I would want her to teach me everything. Look up Zarna Garg. If you're not listening to Zarna, if you're not listening to her podcast, if you're not following her on Instagram, you're missing out. She will motivate you and make you laugh at the same time. There's nothing that this woman can't do. I admire her. I admire like every mother comedian that I see. Eliza Schlesinger, Leanne Morgan, Jennifer Fulwiler, Ali Wong, all of them. But Zarna Garg is, oh my gosh, what she's doing. She's only been doing stand-up comedy, I think, like 5 or 6 years. I can only aspire to be like a tiny bit of that. And I would love to have her on my podcast. Another person that I would just like, oh my gosh, pun intended, I would literally die to have on my podcast is the hospice nurse, Hadley Vlehos, I think is her name. Hadley, if you run across this episode and you want to do a quick Zoom, let me know. Okay, this is the viral hospice nurse. She just wrote a book called In the In-Between, or yeah, I think The In-Between, maybe, about misconceptions about death and dying from a hospice nurse. And I'm intrigued by the idea of death. I love hospice nurses. When anyone that I love has been on hospice, those support people, they make all the difference. They are literally helping you transition from one state of being to the next. And I think in another life, my dream job would be not hospice nurse, because I would mess up the needles and then kill somebody before their time. But I would like to be a hospice chaplain. That would be like an alternate job for me in another world. Do I believe in aliens? Sure. Yeah. Why not? If we get nuked by Russia, would you rather A, be fully prepped? If so, what would you prep? What would your bunker look like? Necessities? Or B, go out blazing? What an interesting question. If you had asked me before I had a kid, I would have said go out blazing. And even though I have a family now, I still kind of think go out blazing, beam us all up to heaven. I don't know. I would prep, albeit reluctantly. And I think my bunker would have like more hot Cheetos than are necessary. If you were a hardworking stripper, I love this. If you were a hardworking stripper, what would your aesthetic be? Lana Del Rey meets Chappell Roan meets Elaine from Seinfeld. Okay, so we're talking old money, Hollywood coquette / Muppet drag queen / business casual and goofy. And I think there's a space for that. I think there's a niche for everybody. Obviously, I would be a hardworking stripper. If I were a stripper, I'm going to be a hardworking one. I think a lot of sequins, a lot of makeup. I'm trying to, obviously. And I'm trying to think what my name would be. I already know. My stripper name would be Rosalind Peters. No further explanation. Yep, someone even said, after reading all of that, the one thing I keep wondering is what your stripper name would be. It says a lot about a person. Rosalind Peters. Final answer. And like, if you're one of my customers and you're trying to, slip money into my like little fake gun holster or whatever, you can't call me Rosalind. You have to call me Rosalind Peters. Full non-government name, okay? Jessica Cooley said, loneliness as a mom, meaning how do you have and maintain a social life? I don't think I do. I think I have a lot of built-in socialization because I have a large family and we're very involved with each other and we all live in the same city. So I'm always hanging out with them. I'm the oldest of 5 siblings. And then the other form of socialization I get is with other comics. So that's just, a bunch of weirdos throwing spaghetti at each other in group therapy. It's not pretty. And then I do have friends, but they're just as busy as I am. They're all moms or doctors, you know? So I think my friends and I understand that, like, you kind of have to get in where you fit in. Do I experience loneliness? Yes, every day, even when I'm around other people, sometimes especially when I'm around other people. But that's just the human condition. All right. Everybody feels lonely. Surely. Herman Dungan says, is dipping my Little Caesars pizza into Indian Delight's butter chicken cultural appropriation or a cry for help? It's not cultural appropriation, because if you are ordering butter chicken from an Indian restaurant, then I know you're white, and I know you're not trying to be anything but white. So I don't think it's cultural appropriation. I think it's a cry for help. Would I do it too? Absolutely. Herman says, how does my mother survive on coffee, the stress of her children's lives, and half of a half nukes salad? That's a balanced diet for a mom. That's a balanced diet. That may even, I'm thinking actually half of a half, that's a quarter of a full salad. Really all you need is like a little eighth of salad. And I do mean real salad. Okay? Yeah, no, moms definitely need a steady diet of the stress of their children's lives. I pretty much only survive on coffee, and then I eat like a large order of fries at the end of the day. And I think I think those are your nutritional needs when you're a mother. I don't need a cruciferous vegetable. I just don't need that anymore. I've outgrown it. I've ascended. Herman Dungan also says, why are there not solar panels in every parking lot? I need some shade. Solar panel? You think I'm qualified to discuss solar panels? You think I'm qualified to discuss solar panels? That's cute. Okay, and then Lane Martin, this is one of my other comic friends, he says, rank all of the Hattiesburg comedians dance mom style with a picture pyramid. I will do that off camera, Lane, and you know I will, baby, but I'm not going to do that on my podcast. I know you want to be at the top of the pyramid, but you're number 3, Nia. 3rd in the pyramid, 3rd for this week. Okay? Those were great questions, y'all. Let me see if I have any more anywhere else. I really appreciate it because y'all sent a lot of questions in like 2 hours. Nope. That's it. That's all for this week. Next week, I will be in New York. No, I'll be coming home from New York. That's crazy. And our guest next week, I'm not going to tell you who it is yet, but I have really high hopes for this episode because the girl that I'm interviewing is a total badass. And I think she's going to have a lot of wisdom for everybody who listens. So, all right, y'all. Thank you for sending me questions. Thank you for, as I used to say to all my college boyfriends, right? Thank you for putting up with me. Thank you for putting up with me. I don't deserve you. All right, y'all. Stay freaky, and I'll see you next week.